What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen, today we are going to be going through my updated LCS team tier list. I think right now is a great time to give an update to this tier list because we are now 9 games into the spring regular season, and if you didn't know, that is the halfway point. Last week, which was the halfway point for the LEC, we did the updated LEC tier list, ranking all those teams, kind of giving my thoughts and opinions on the first half of the spring season for each one of those teams, and now this week it is the LCS's turn since they are now 9 games through. We've seen every team complete the first round robin, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions not just on how teams looked in the past 9 games, but also my projections for them going forward. So we're not just going to be looking at the standings. We're not just going to be looking at the match results from the first half of the season. I'm going to be trying to predict what I think these teams will look like going forward. But obviously past results will have some impact on that, but it's not going to be the end all be all by any means. What you're seeing on the screen right now is actually my preseason power rankings or my preseason tier list. I had these teams ranked 1 through 10, top left to bottom right. This is how I had them, and in this video I'm going to be kind of reordering everyone, giving my updated thoughts and opinions on all of them, because some teams I think I got pretty right, and some teams I definitely think I got not so right. So we'll talk about all that and hopefully get your guys' thoughts and opinions as well. Before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you guys have not already, please take a second and smash that like button. I would appreciate it so much. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, getting my videos out to more and more people, helping spread my content, help my channel grow more and more. Best and easiest way to help support my channel and my content if that's something you're interested in doing. Also subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content because we have so many awesome videos coming out in the near future. I really do believe we are one of the best, if not the best source for League of Legends content on YouTube. So you want to subscribe, you don't want to miss out. With that being said, let's get right into this. We'll start off at the bottom. Coming into the season, I had Golden Guardians. Well, first we can look at the standings right now. Here's what the standings actually look like, with Cloud9 on top, 7-2, Dignitas, TSM, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, Liquid, Immortals, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, and CLG. Again, this doesn't matter too much. This is, you want to have an idea of what happened in the first half, obviously, but it's not going to matter too much. So first up, Golden Guardians, we can take a look at them. We can see how the first half went for them. You can see a lot of red here. They had a win against 100 Thieves, which is pretty random. Obviously not a lot of people would expect that. And then their other big win was against Immortal. So they sit at 2-7 right now. They're not in last place. They are in 9th. And coming into the season, I had them as the worst team, the lowest ranked team, for a lot of different reasons. I wasn't really sure what to expect from Niles or Iconic coming in, skipping over the academy scene. Obviously, I think there's levels to this. I think you need to work your way up the right way. And their bot lane, I still wasn't really sold on. I thought Stixday would bounce back well, and I would say he's bounced back decently, but I really wasn't expecting Newbie to come in and do much, and I am a fan of a Blaze Olive, but still having an inexperienced NA mid laner, and so far I think a lot of those, they're having a lot of those same issues. I think Niles has really looked outclassed in the top lane in a lot of his games. He definitely has some natural talent, but is definitely very rough around the edges and just needs more practice. I really think some time in academy would benefit him super well. He can learn through professional play, but he's just going to take his lumps. I think Iconic has been way better than I could have possibly expected, so maybe not everyone needs academy the same amount, but I do think this team is going to struggle. I had them ranked as a 10th place team coming into the season. There could be an argument to be made moving them up into 9th, but I am going to be leaving them at 10th. This is one team that I think I had placed pretty accurately. They're exciting sometimes. They show some signs and flashes, but they're just wildly inconsistent. I know they almost pulled off a big upset against TSM, but that didn't happen. They're sitting at 2-7. I think the second half of the split is going to be just as rough for them. Next up, we have Dignitas. This is a team who has had a crazy split. Losses to 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Team Liquid has them sitting at 6-3. But that means a couple of decent wins against TSM, Immortals, FlyQuest, Evil Geniuses. They've had a very up and down just split. A lot of this is honestly off the back of Dardoch being a massive carry for this team. He has a huge champion pool, playing all different kinds of stuff, and it's really been helping this team out. Not only is it keeping the enemy team on their toes in terms of draft and even just play style in the game, having to prepare for all these different champions, all these different styles. Afromu's having a pretty big resurgence, honestly, and Fake God and Soligo have been honestly solid. Their stats look decent. The eye test, they have some weird games. They have some inty games. They have some games where they just absolutely don't show up at all, and they are definitely outclassed in some games, but they're stepping up. They're looking to be some of the better native solo laners. Obviously, this is the All-American team, and they're looking pretty good. Honestly, it's been surprising. I don't know if they can keep up this level of play in the second half of the season, but they are much better than I expected and a lot of people. I had them rated as 9th, but now I'm definitely going to be moving them up into the B tier. I don't think I'm quite ready to move them into the A tier because I don't think they're as good as they played in the first half of the season, and I expect some regression in the second half, but a huge jump up from where I had expected them to be coming into the year. And honestly, I like what I'm seeing from Dignitas. They're quietly kind of a fun team to watch play, honestly, and all the North American memes recently extra spicy as well. Next up, we have Immortals. This is kind of a weird team. Their season so far has looked like wins against CLG, EG, FlyQuest, and Liquid, so kind of some random wins and losses. Obviously, CLG kind of sucks. I wouldn't read too much into that win, but Evil Geniuses, that's a good win. Team Liquid, that's a good win. But then they lost to Golden Guardians? I don't know. Kind of a weird team. They show up some games. They don't show up some other games. They have some talent. Obviously, I think Insanity is honestly pretty underrated. I think Xerxes has been solid. Revenge has had really high highs and really low lows. I don't necessarily love the bot lane of Brazen Destiny, but I think Immortals is a solid team. I had them rated in the C tier. I had them like 8th coming into the season, and honestly, in the second half, I still expect them to be around that 7th to 8th spot. I'm going to be keeping them right where I had them. This is another team that I think I was pretty accurate on coming into the season. Not really much I would change there, so we're going to be leaving them in the C tier for now. An interesting team. I don't really think they're that exciting, that fun to watch. Not really anyone on their team that excites me too much, but they've been all right. They've won a couple of games. They pulled off some big upsets. That's really all you can ask for kind of a young and experienced team like that. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to progress over the course of the season, spring split, summer, maybe into next year. Some of them have a bright future ahead of them. Next up, we got CLG, Counter Logic Gaming. They've had a ton of issues, obviously, with their roster. Their top laner, Finn, just getting, he showed up late to the lock-in tournament, didn't get to play with the team and practice a bunch coming into the season. Broxa has only gotten to play a couple games with them now. They had all kinds of roster issues. Pobelter getting benched right before the season started as well. So it's super, super weird. RJS, obviously, still kind of getting his footing in the LCS. Broxa is still kind of getting his legs underneath him in the United States. We'll see how this team's able to bounce back. But so far, the lone win against Golden Guardians, and then just losses to everybody else. Teams look really, really weird. They're honestly not even that talented of a team to begin with, and then you start throwing in all these roster issues, and it just makes it even worse for CLG. I do expect them to have a better second half of the split, just because as Finn gets more time with the team, as Broxa gets more time with the team and shakes off the jet lag and stuff, I do think this team has some talent, but they're just a very dysfunctional organization, a very dysfunctional roster, and I don't expect too big of a turnaround of them for anything. I had them C tier coming into the year. That's with Pobelter, that's with Broxa, that's with Finn, but obviously that's not what's happened. So I'm not going to say I was entirely wrong about them because no one could have predicted everything that's happened. But now with all the updated information, I'm going to be moving them down to the F tier. I do think they're better than Golden Guardians. I think they will be better than Golden Guardians. But right now, I can't really say they're better than anybody else. But I mean, if they pass like Immortals or something, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do have Immortals kind of a tier above them for now. Next up, we got FlyQuest. This was a weird team. This is a team that preseason was kind of like the hot pick where people were kind of moving them up their power rankings fast. They had so much young, exciting talent building around Licorice. They had Jose Diodo. And I think people just kind of got a little bit overhyped for them, got a little bit excited. I had them 6th coming into the season. I had some other people who had them 5th, 4th. So I saw some people had them as high as 3rd. And I really never saw it. I was excited. I was hyped up. But I think this team has played like a young team for the most part. I think obviously they failed to live up to expectations to some extent. And I don't really think you can fault them too much. A lot of the players that got hyped up, I don't think are maybe as good as people thought they were going to be. Diamond, I think, has been a huge underperformer. I know some people are even at this point calling for Diamond to be benched. He has just not been as good as people expected. Palafox has maybe even been a little bit underwhelming as well. And that's very, very natural. Like most rookies that come into the LCS do not have success right away. Most don't have success ever, but even the ones that do don't usually find it right away. So, they had so many young inexperienced players. Some of them weren't going to work out. Also, Licorice has definitely not been like the huge, massive carry that a team like this would need. Jose Dioto has had some weird games, not necessarily the best. Johnson, I think, is solid, but I mean, he hasn't been able to stand out enough as this team needs. So a lot of the things that people expected to come together at the beginning of the year haven't really come together. If we look at them right now, the record's not bad. They have wins against CLG, Golden Guardians, and TSM. So they're sitting at 3-6. I mean, the record's not great, obviously, either, but it's not horrible. I think that this is a team that I expected to maybe be able to turn things around a little bit. Again, a very, very inexperienced team, so the more they're getting to play together and stuff, I think they have the talent to maybe get it together over the course of time. But yeah, just not a team that I've been super, super excited about. I think that they have a chance to be a little bit better than Immortals, but it's kind of hard for me to rate these two teams right now. They're so close in the standings. One game here or there, especially when it's just best of ones. Really, anything can happen. I rate these teams pretty closely, but again, I think FlyQuest is a little bit more talented and has a chance to develop more over the course of the spring split. We'll see exactly how that goes, but I think right now I would rate them just a little bit higher at this point. Next up, we have Evil Geniuses. This is a team that, again, a lot of people were hyped up about coming into the season. I wasn't as excited about them. I had them like ranked 5th. Part of my reason was I was not completely sold on Deathly, and I also was not completely sold on Jizuke being anything more than like a coin flip mid laner who, yes, when he's on, when you flip heads, he's like an automatic carry. I mean, he is insane. He is going to pop off with the best of them. But when you get tails, like, it's such a free win for the other team, and, you know, you're going to hit tails a fair amount. And I think that's so far kind of what Evil Genius has been seeing this season. They sit right now, wins against Cloud9, great. Wins against TL, awesome. They have some wins against some bottom tier teams, but lost to 100 Thieves, lost to Dignitas, lost to Immortals, lost to TSM. Like, they have some wins against some good teams, but they have some losses to some bad teams. Just not a very consistent team, and not what I would really like to see out of a team, with the talent to be one of these top teams. I mean, they have, in my opinion, as much talent as like 100 Thieves or a team like that, but they just lack that consistency, and I think it just causes them too many issues. I had them 5th coming into the season. I'm going to be keeping them in the B tier, but I am going to be putting them in 6th. I do have them ranked below Dignitas in my opinion right now. Evil Genius is probably a more talented team, but I think Dignitas plays a better style, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, and has been able to execute more. But Evil Geniuses could definitely pass them over the course of the season. But right now, I'm just feeling a little bit higher on Dignitas, and people might even say I'm sleeping on Dignitas a little bit, even having them in the same tier as EG. But that's just what I think. I've never been completely sold on EG. Yes, Impact has been an absolute monster. I mean, that guy has been an absolute beast for them. Definitely has been better than I thought he was going to be. Ignar has been awesome, but still, I think this team just has too many question marks. They're a little bit too inconsistent for my taste, and I think their second half of the split is probably going to look pretty similar to their first half. They're going to pull off some wins against some good teams. They do show up for those big games, but they're going to have some bad losses as well, and it's just going to be too tough to stay at the top when you're losing games like that. Next up, we have 100 Thieves. I had them ranked 4th coming into the season, in the A tier, right behind TSM. And if you look at things right now, they started out the season super, super hot. I think they were like 6-1, and ended on a 2-game loss streak. Pretty unfortunate. They have the losses to Cloud9, TSM, and then a really, really random loss to Golden Guardians. But a lot of good wins in there. They beat Dignitas, they beat Evil Geniuses, they beat Liquid. I mean, this has been when this team's on, they're so fun to watch. FBI is a monster. Sumday's a monster. Closer can be really good. DeMonte, when he's like playing his style, when he's playing well, he's fun to watch as well, and who he has been one of the better supports in the league, honestly. But in the end, I just don't know if this team is talented enough, honestly, to compete with some of these top teams when everyone's on, when everyone's playing their best. Yes, 100 Thieves started out the season really, really strong, but again, I think TSM playing at their best is a little bit more talented and going to be able to take down 100 Thieves. I think Cloud9 is a little bit more talented. I think TL's a little bit more talented. Yes, 100 Thieves has awesome teamwork. I love how they play together and stuff, but I think they're just maybe a piece or two short here or there. They're going to be able to take some games off these top teams. They're right there with them, but I'm going to be leaving them at 4th in the power rankings right now. Again, still an A-tier team, and if they pass TSM, if they compete with Cloud9, if they compete with Team Liquid, I'm not shocked at all. I'm not surprised, but I think they are just a little bit below those top 3 teams right now. And if I had to make a prediction, these are still my top 3 teams to like make it to Worlds at this point, TLC9 and TSM. Speaking of TSM, we'll talk about them next. This team had a very, very slow start to the beginning of the season. It was a really, really ugly, rocky start, especially coming out of the lock-in tournament. But you know, when all was said and done, they're sitting at 6-3. They're a game behind Cloud9 for first place. Their team has been playing a lot better. They've been having a lot better drafts. They have 3 losses, and 2 of them were quirky games from Power of Evil where they looked absolutely terrible. And hopefully we won't be seeing any more quirky games in the second half of the split. So besides weird drafts, I really don't have too many issues with their play, especially recently. I mean, some weird things here and there, but especially against Dignitas, they did a lot of coin flippy weird plays. But I mean, this team, it looks like a completely different team than the team that showed up in lock-in, the team that showed up in the first week of the LCS. And I think that is really, really exciting for a lot of TSM fans. Big win against 100 Thieves was really, really awesome to see. Wins against Evil Geniuses, TL was great. They still can't get over the hump against Cloud9, which is going to be an issue, obviously, and then a loss to Dignitas, kind of has them in the position they are right now. But I think TSM, they started out the season really, really slow, and since then, they've been playing like one of the best teams in the LCS. Still, though, they do have those losses, so I'm not going to put them in S tier or anything like that. I had them as the 3rd best team coming into the season. I still think they're there right now. I think it's a very, very talented team who has some cohesion issues, who had some identity issues, who had some inexperience issues with a guy like Lost, still not really being able to find his footing in the LCS. He's been looking much, much better. Also a rookie head coach in Bjergsen, who maybe didn't have the best drafts at the beginning of the split, didn't have his team playing the best style at the beginning of the split. But I think things are starting to come together. I think his team is too talented to be as unsuccessful as they were at the beginning. I think they're going to just continue to get better and better. Next up, we have Cloud9, who in the preseason I had as the 2nd best team. They made it to the lock-in finals. They got 2nd place, but since then, they have had an awesome, awesome, awesome regular season. Wins against 100 Thieves, wins against TSM. Yes, they did drop these games to Evil Geniuses, who has been a team that's kind of been a thorn in their side. They beat them in the lock-in tournament as well. And then this most recent loss to Team Liquid. But overall, a 7-2 split for Cloud9, having them in first place, having them just looking really, really good, really, really strong. This is a fun, exciting team. Perks has been a monster for them. Sven's been a monster. Blabber's been a beast. Fudge looks like he's slowly getting better and better. And Vulcan is as good as anybody. In my opinion, this is right now the best team in the LCS. I definitely have them as the number 1 team. I do still think that Team Liquid is more talented, and I think Team Liquid can surpass them, but right now with Team Liquid sitting at like 5-4, them looking as inconsistent as they have bad drafts, they play weird games, they are having maybe potentially burnout issues with some of their players and stuff like that. I just can't really see a way to put Team Liquid over them right now. I do still think Team Liquid is an S tier team, because I think they're so talented that they will be able to bounce back. And if I had to make a prediction right now, I would still have Team Liquid, I guess, as my favorite maybe to make it to MSI, just because I think like in best of 5s and stuff, I still think Team Liquid is going to be the best team. But right now, as far as like who I think is going to finish first in the regular season, I think Cloud9 is in the driver's seat for that. And they're just looking really, really good in best of 1s. But then obviously talking about Team Liquid, super weird split for them so far. Lost to 100 Thieves, lost to Evil Geniuses, lost to Immortals, lost to TSM, wins against Dignitas, wins against Cloud9, so just a bunch of kind of random results for them all over the place. We saw that Tactical was saying he's having some issues with burnout. In lock-in tournament, they looked so good. Their bot was 2v2 killing all the time. They were making plays all over the place, and we just haven't seen that Team Liquid in the regular season so far very often. But again, this team is so talented. They've been there, done that. Spring regular season doesn't really matter that much, especially the first round robin. I expect them to ramp it up in the second half. I expect them to finish 2nd or 3rd in the LCS standings. I expect them to do just fine in playoffs. I expect them to make finals in spring. And if we get another TL Cloud9 finals best of 5 and the winner gets to go to MSI, hey, may the best team win, and that's going to be really hype for the fans and just really good for the region, sending the hottest team at the moment to the international competition. I think that's going to be really, really exciting. That's kind of how I expect things to go, and I think that would be just an awesome, fitting end to what has so far been a really, really fun and exciting split. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. These are my updated LCS power rankings after 9 games, after 3 weeks of the spring split. Halfway done, halfway to go. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. It helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a a comment down below. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? What's your tier list looking like right now? There's definitely some changes you could make. I mean, there's some close calls. Maybe move Team Liquid down. Maybe switch around FlyQuest and Immortals. Maybe you move Dignitas up. I mean, there's all different kinds of things you could do that I wouldn't disagree with too much. But make sure you subscribe to update on all these content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!